And I'm actually going to ask you, Professor Dr. Elizabeth and Mobolaji, in line with the presentation from Cholpon, how could Nigeria improve in their memorialization of ethnic religious violence that have been occurring in Nigeria in a way that probably could result in economic growth. It could help in promoting the economy. How could memory of violence, of conflict, lead or result in economic growth? It's something that you could think about. Think about 9/11. You have tourists coming all over the world to here to take a look at the history of the U.S. and what happened here, and that is actually resulting in economic growth. The Asaba massacre in Nigeria was a very bitter experience, or the Nigeria-Biafra war. How could we look into building, things, monuments, or things that will represent that, and use that to attract tourists to come and actually see, visit, and probably pay some money and actually see, as that happens in museums, and it happens in many other countries like Kyrgyzstan, what Dr. Cholpon was talking about. So you could think about that, but I'm going to first, you could respond to the question I asked. As you respond to some of the questions, I'm going to be taking from the audience. Okay. I'll begin with Dr. Art, Professor Art.
It's just in listening to everything, it seemed to me the only institutional solution which we heard was the museums. In other words, in some way using institutions like museums to build a national culture which all the ethnicities and religions can share. They can still be their own ethnicities, but like in the United States, or we used to be in the United States, I don't know what's happening now, but you might be Catholic, you might be Protestant, but you're still American. So in Nigeria, you can be, the idea of what the museums are trying to do in Kyrgyzstan is the kind of things, I don't know, but of course first you have to get museums built, you have to get funding, you have to get people attracted to them. If you're only going to go to the mosque or the church and you're not going to go, of course schools would be the obvious institution. If people could go to the same schools or mix in the schools, or if the schools in the north at least have a similar curriculum to the schools in the southwest or the southeast. So anyway, that's the only, so far what I heard, the only one we presented here today, the only institutional response has been the museum.
Okay, you can write them down, and at the end you can respond to all the questions. I'll take one from you, our friend from Afghanistan.
Yeah, actually, Afghans are having many questions.
Make it brief, please.
I have two questions. One's from the colleagues from Nigeria, and one from Kyrgyzstan, because I'm also from Central Asia. In regard to Kyrgyzstan, so you said 14 point something are Uzbek, and there was a conflict between Kyrgyz and Uzbek in 2009? 2010, sorry for that. So, do you allow Uzbek people, they themselves, they differentiate themselves from Kyrgyz people? Do you allow them to, that they are taught at school by their own language, I mean by Uzbek language? This is my question from you and from the other side, Nigerian colleagues. So the president of Nigeria, as I know, is from Osi tribe, the new president, Osi tribe. So As my friend in France, he told me that the majority are Muslims, around 60 or 50, 57, 58% of the population of the country are Muslims. So now the presidents is the Muslim. Do you think, considering the condition, the severe condition of the country that you, both of you, presented to us, do you think if the country is divided into two parts, where the majority are Christian, one part of Nigeria, and where the majority are Muslims, other parts of Nigeria, like South and East Sudan, which was, separated in 2012, can it be a sort of solution, or I need your collaboration with it? Thank you.
All right, write it down, and I'll tell you. I'll say it, and I'm going to tell Daniel. Go ahead.
I think my question was now, how do you rate ethno-religious dynamics sitting at the center of power structure in these communities? Because when you talk about power struggles, we are talking about resource allocation. When you talk about resource allocation and acquisition, then you're talking about development. Now, in most of these countries, especially sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria inclusive, you're going to see the dynamics that these three people are talking about. That, for example, you have a country which is almost 50 times smaller than the United States of America, having a cabinet which is 50, 60 cabinet ministers and 80 state ministers. Now, the question is this president serving the constituents of the different constituencies in the community or wasting resources?
All right.
That is one. Two, I have two questions. Then the issue of...
Could you, he's asking if the president of Nigeria is serving different constituencies, different groups that also have different, that have their own regions, right? That kind of autonomy.
Yes.
Right.
That one is management of diversity. All of them have addressed the issue very nicely. And when we're talking about management of diversity, we are talking about development. True, the lady in the center talked about 300 ethnic tribes in Nigeria. My country, only 50 million people, we've got 53 tribes, each one speaking different languages, different cultures. And therefore, the solution is going to be, he's going to have a minister, a prime minister, first deputy prime minister, second deputy prime minister, first up to 6. Why? Because he must satisfy every constituency. And then the World Bank is going to come and say, reduce your cabinet, we'll give you money. What is it doing? Is he going to reduce the cabinet? Or he's going to continue and say, back off, this is my internal affairs. So here is management of diversity. What do you think should be done to these communities vis-a-vis the external powers?
In terms of managing the diversity in the country, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, Daniel.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I am trying to formulate the question as I speak to all of you, but particularly, my heritage is Cuban, and we have a very high appreciation for the Yoruba people. And part of our heritage comes with the result of colonization and slavery of the Yoruba civilization. In fact, sometimes we talk about having good ache. And one of the things that I'm listening to all of you is there's a lot of ethnic, religious conflict, that's true, but there's also identity. The Yoruba civilization represents a people that are either Christian or Muslim predominantly today. But again, syncretization and syncretism, I think, speaks to a lot of what's going on. There are many Anglican Nigerians, but this represents a religion of the colonial powers. I'm an Anglican priest, so I can understand how, regardless of that, it's still seeing God in a very different way. And then you look at Islam, and Islam, again, it's not native and indigenous either. It has also come from the outside. So how much of this conflict is also a search for identity? How much of this conflict is legitimizing what it means to be a follower of Oludumare and not necessarily having to either be God of the Hebrew and the Christian people or Allah? And how much of that has considered to be the division more and more and more of a beautiful civilization that cannot even be spoken of any longer? But it's really behind everything that's happening. So I just wanted to share that with you, and whatever guidance I humbly receive. Thank you.
So how could you revitalize the traditional African religious system? Revitalize the African traditional religions. All right, that's basically.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take your question.
Okay. So what we hear in this panel and in the other lectures, divisive societies, right? We have pluralistic societies that is composed of different heritage, histories, memories, identities, perspectives, you name it, right? And we talk about this slide, for example, rather let us speak of mutual understanding and mutual respect. Okay, it sounds so nice, right? We all agree with it. It's such a great dream. But do we think we have the skills for it? Do we speak the language? Don't we have to learn how to mutually respect one another? Does it mean the same to you and to me? I don't think so. No, we have to clarify these concepts. Those are nice aspirations. But if you want museums to teach and to teach people to collaborate, they need the skills. They need shared vision. All these things we need to build. Now, it's not only because we don't have the budget. I don't think so. It's, first of all, it's a shift in our mindset. Where does the money go, right? I think you talked about that. Okay, so there's a process that needs to occur here in order to operationalize our dreams. Otherwise, we actually we are partners to perpetuating the dream and not operationalizing the dream. So we have to find practical ways as to how educate these people. For example, it could be museums, community centers, synagogues, religious centers, you name it. But people have to have the skills. It's like we complain to teachers why they don't teach our kids to deal with conflict constructively. They don't have the skills. So how can we expect that, right? So we have an active role as to how to shift in our perspective, first of all, and to shift our actions. Otherwise, nothing is going to happen. We can meet in conferences and complain and complain and complain, but nothing will happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just want to follow. We need the skills and the motivation.
Yeah, but that's the shift. You need to want to do something else differently. Otherwise, you continue doing the same thing over and over again.
All right, so I'm going to give you, each of you 2 minutes to respond to
Wow, 2 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 4 minutes to respond.
That's a compromise.
Yes, to respond to the question that is addressed to you. I'm going to begin with you, Cholpon.
Thank you so much for such a great discussion, and I agree totally with you. So, actor-based action and motivation should be from the different side, and I agree with you totally with that kind of motivation and teaching should start from the beginning, from kids, from these institutions, school, and different other institutions which should be involved mutually in that process. Regarding the Uzbeks, yes, they have a lot of opportunities to self-express their identity through school. The school in the south, they share both languages, Kyrgyz and Uzbek. We have theaters, we have cinemas, we have 3 institutions which are taught in Uzbek language. But I would say that conflict which happened in 1990 and 2010 mostly was about the distribution of resources. Because yes, having all this presenting institutions, the Uzbek people were lack in getting the power. That was the main point. And regarding the question about this kind of regionalism and having imbalanced power in terms of Nigeria, in terms of Kyrgyzstan, I would say all this coming because of the really nowadays identity creation process, how we build the nation and how we build the state. I think here more in terms of our country, I don't know specification in terms of Nigeria, but in terms of our country and region, the Central Asian region, we use the nepotism, and you know what is this. Nepotism, our power is based on kinship and nepotism, and that is our big problem. And because of this, we try to get the power based on the splitting out all our regions and all our people. Somehow we have to try to overcome that model of identity building, I would say.
Thank you. Who want to go first? Yes, Walker, you're going to go first, and then you'll have the last word.
Okay. Let me not start with the first question, because I'm in love with the question, is the president serving a particular ethnic group or serving the whole country? I have to answer that by telling a short but a brief story. In a country where the president will allow the implementation of Sharia law or the law of a particular religion on the others, does that person have the interest of the other race? Do you understand my question? If the president can allow the implementation of Sharia, a Muslim law, on non-Muslims, is that president serving the whole country or a particular people? In a country where the president will approve that every state will have what they call cow colony, or let me put it in another way, where the president will allow that farmers like the middle belt areas, they are the major food producing region in Nigeria, where herdsmen will take gun and go and put their houses on fire and they will run. And the cows will feed on their farms and destroy their farms. And the president will not do anything. And the thing will repeat again next week. People will be killed. Their farms will be destroyed. And nothing will happen. Is that president serving the whole country? Because the president is from the north, and because that's why I asked the question I asked there, whether the ruling power, the people in the ruling class, are they fueling conflict or are they doing something? If you are reading news about Nigeria, you see the same thing keep happening every time, and nothing is done. Nobody is arrested, and you are not allowed to have gun. But these people that feel everywhere in the east that we carry a box as if they are repairing shoes, but they have gun. Some of them are soldiers, but they will disguise themselves as gatemen, but they have their radio that they listen in their own language, because Nigeria, like me, I'm from Nigeria, but I can't hear Hausa, I can't hear Yoruba. Do you understand? So I think that answered the question. There are some injustices that are being done to those people that are not Muslims, and nothing will be done. Again, this is academic environment. Let us not be sentimental. You may be a Muslim, you may be a Christian. We know the history of Islam and the Christianity. There are a religion that is can do conversion by force. Christianity, the Bible doesn't support killing in any way. In any way. They do their conversion by conviction, but not by sword. So when you are trying to coerce people of other religion to believe in what you believe, this is the major conflict in Nigeria if we want to tell ourselves the truth. Then because we don't have time, your question, you were talking about the memories, how the memories of Nigeria, like we have civil war and people died and things like that, how can that memories help us to curb conflict in the present day? The major problem is that people that experience the civil war will not like war. But unfortunately, they are no more. They are not, they are old. There are some, many have died. The vibrant young men that are aggrieved by unemployment, by suffering, some of them will say, it's better we go for war and die. Because you have many graduates in Nigeria that have no job for years. That have no job. So whenever there is a conflict or a political activities, they are easily mobilized. And these people who are supposed to be future of Nigeria, what do you think Nigeria will be in future? So that is a major problem. If this thing is happening around 1980, when the people that went to war or families that suffered from the effect of war are still alive, the memories of war, we say, let us find dialogue or way to handle this. That is the major. But I believe God will still find a way. But for now, I don't know. There are another thing I have to add before my sister talk. Remember that somebody was talking about diversity. Remember that Nigeria, for example, there are minor ethnic sets, but there are three major, outside Yoruba and Igbo. We don't hear ourselves. So by nature, you may help us to say if we're supposed to be a country or not. And there is a river Niger, River Benue, that naturally divided us. But our colonial masters pushed us together. And those people in the East are still suffering it. I wish some of you will come and see death every time. Death every time. And it's nothing. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Mobolaji? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You can talk on this.
Okay. Thank you very much. How could the memory of conflicts in Nigeria result in economic growth? It will not because of sentiment. The government of the day is not interested because it will promote the interest of the East, because they are the ones that suffered from the conflict. And the government outrightly came out, I will not pick anybody into my cabinet from the East. That is our president, because they did not vote for me. If a president can come out to say that, where would the people go? So he will not promote maybe doing museum or memory of the war, of the Biafra war. He will not, because it will promote the interest of the North. And the Northern cabals will not allow that. Will the division of the country into two be a resolution, maybe to North and Southern part, like as my Afghanistan brother said? No, it will not be allowed. That would have been the best. Many people are crying out that let's divide. Everybody is trying to go your way. But the government of the day will not. Because we have had national conference before he came in, and that was a lot of things, you know, they came up with a lot of resolution. If we have to stay together, and if such resolution will not be carried out, then we should separate. He came in and set apart everything they've done and done, you know, throw it into the dustbin. And also the crude oil, which is the main economy backbone of Nigeria, where the money is coming from, the millions. I teach a course, oil and gas, you know, investment in Nigeria, oil and gas law. And we find out that as a country, officially, we make almost 70 billion naira every day. And yet, the country has nothing to show for it. And when I say officially, it's on the line. Because that means a lot is going on that is unofficial. Because when there was a probe, even our NNPC, that's our national corporation, could not tell us officially what we are selling. It was so bad. And they had to round up that committee and fold it up. maybe with bribery and corruption, and everybody went their way. We don't know what we are really selling as a country. It's so bad as that. But all we know that we are making money, at least officially they say we are selling 2.3 million barrels a day, and that accounts for the billions of naira, and yet nothing as a government to show for it. The money keeps going to the hand of the few, and they are the one in power. The next question says, the management of diversity. Wow, it would have been good, but we have more than enough. We have more than 50-something. We have over 300 ethnic groups. I don't know how we're going to manage it, but it can be managed if we have a sincere government. Unfortunately, we don't have. Our government is not for the people. Then the Kuba, I'm trying to address the question, just 2 minutes more. Then an example was made of the Kuba and Yoruba. Maybe we should revitalize the identity, the traditional religion, like you said. Well, we have gone further, past that. We cannot say people that are Christians or Muslims, please go back to your shrine. It's not possible. But we are promoting culture. At least as a country, they are promoting culture. They are trying to do that. But going back to the traditional religion may not be. It's not possible now. A search for identity where we should identify ourselves if we have a sincere government and we mutual understanding. As she said, how do we make relevant mutual understanding and mutual respect? To make it relevant, actually, as you said, we need the teaching, we need the skill. Unfortunately, the Nigerian government is not there. Like I said, schools have been abandoned. You go to a government like my school, I encourage my students to go for law school. We used to go for law school. After the 5-year training, I asked them to go to the governor of the state to assist them because the bill is high. And only for the governor to say to their face that I have no time for the student, I have nothing to do with education. Walk out of my office. And they had to leave. The students, the youth there are frustrated. And good enough, we have a good population in Nigeria. Our population percentage and variety is very good. We have strength. We have a huge number of youth. Over 60% of our population is youth, which could have helped us to develop. But unfortunately, there's nothing for the youth, no job. They are frustrated, and that is the truth. They are really frustrated. The only help I see here is the NGO. You that you are out there, please help us to help the NGOs. Unfortunately, with the United Nations, they are not here now. They sponsor, UNICEF comes, they come with their programs, they come with their money, they go to the north. I try to do a study of where they have been funding, how they have been funding. It pains me. I go to class, try to explain to my students what is going on. They go to the north. Yes, the government will direct them to go to the north. That is the north that are having problem. They are disadvantaged. They are no more disadvantaged. If they want to spend our money, please tell them. They want to help us, let them go to where the thing is really happening. Go to the south, go to the east. Enough of the north. They take all the money to the north. They bring the dollars, they go to the north. They say there is polo there is none, and it's a lie. It's enough. Please help us out with that. The NGO should sponsor programs around the country. And one thing that helped me, I told one of my students, go online. Some of these NGO too are realizing that the Nigerian government is not sincere. The British Council did something very good. I was very happy. One of my students in my class applied. I said, just try. He said, I will not. They will give it to their children. The government are the one distribute it to their children. I said, just try. And good enough, they allowed the applicant to come direct to their office, their headquarters in Abuja, and do the exam. And he got a scholarship. I was so happy without any assistance of any government power. I think it's time they should do that. They should go to where it is and stop giving the money to our government because they are not spending it for the right thing. Then they should please, the foreign decision being made. I was so happy with the decision of the United States at the time that disallow corrupt earnings to come into the States. I was so happy when the president made that decision. You people really tried. Thank you for that. It stopped our political leaders that have been taking. They can't bring it to the U.S. They have to explain the money. And of recent, President Trump gave out a list of some of our leaders. So pathetic. Our leaders, presidents, vice president, all of them. The Senate president, some of the accounts that they have money right here in the United States. But they are saying they are not going to allow them to bring in corrupt earnings again. But other countries are not yet helping us out. If they don't find where to take this money to, they will be forced to retain the money there. Possibly they will use it for something positive.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say this. We have a journal, which is a peer-reviewed academic journal. The conversation could continue in that journal once your papers are, whatever you want to say, you could revise your paper, spice it up with all the research findings you have, and you return them, and we could send it for peer review. Thank you very much. We don't really have time. We have other panels. Okay.
In conclusion, please, when we are talking about solution, we've talked about Nigeria is not even saying let them divide. At a time they are asking, let there be decentralization, whereby these three major regions will be on their own, have their own head of the state, and have developed themselves, fight for themselves, but have what they will be paying for the maintenance of the federal level. But the northern part or the immediate president rejected that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we give them a round of applause, please? They really